everyone. The 2 o'clock hour. We've got the WordPress panel, the impromptu WordPress panel. This is unscripted, completely off the cuff. So give a round of applause for our wonderful panel. Thank you so much for coming. Let's jump right into it. And well, this happened because we had two speakers bow out today due to reasons. You know, I don't want to cause panic, but they weren't here. So now we have this wonderful panel here. And we're going to go through and introduce everybody. And basically the format will be kind of Q&A, and I'll be your moderator. My name is Eric Arbe. So if you have a question, present it to me. I'll present it to the appropriate one or ones, and we'll try to get some really good answers and really good content out of this.
Are you talking in a CD?
Yeah. Does it look like I'm holding like a microphone?
Yeah.
Breaker. Yeah, well, this is not what you're seeing over here. Can everybody hear me okay like this?
No.
Oh, okay, so we'll stay on the CD right here. Yeah. So, all right, let's get into it. First up, Kevin Dees from TypeRocket. Can you give us a 10-15 second elevator pitch about who you are and what you do?
Yeah. So, like you said, my name is Kevin Dees. I am a PHP CSS front-end developer. Run a company called RoboJuice, where we develop TypeRocket, the software. So I have a question for all of you. Who likes to push the limits of WordPress? Yes? Can I hear a yes?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Well, TypeRocket can help you do that. It will not only speed up your website if you're building it out, it gives you a nice performance, but it also saves you a lot of time. So you get speed on both ends, technology and on your time. So it frees you up, to do things that you want to do. Spend time with the family, watch another Netflix binge, whatever it is you want to do at that time, make a little bit more money, take on another project. So that's me.
That's you. All right. Saving us time. Thank you, Kevin.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. All right. Next.
I'm Shelly Peacock. I am from Cookeville, Tennessee. I work for a radio broadcasting company called Zimmerman Broadcasting. We have 4 different markets. We've got about 20 radio stations. And I am the digital director for our group there in Cookeville. And I've been a WordPress, I call a WordPress person, because I'm not a developer, I'm more design, but I build websites for clients, so for about a decade.
Awesome. Thank you, Shelly.
Yeah.
Aisha.
Hi, I'm Aisha Adams. I'm a social media influencer and business developer, and so after all these smart people help you build a really great website, I will show you how to get it out into the community and use it to make money.
Uh-oh.
You can make money from the web.
Is it still here?
That's all. My name is David Zimmerman. This is my girlfriend.
Wait, where's
My
your wife?
wife will be here later.
Okay.
This is on camera.
This is so I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm one of the organizers of the Charlotte WordPress user group. We hope to see you all September 26th to come to our WordCamp.
Yeah.
So, hope to see you all there. We're modeling after you guys, so no pressure.
Thank you.
But I own an internet marketing consultancy, SEO consultancy called Reliable Acorn, and I'm just developing a new product called the SEOGamePlan.com. And I'm speaking at 4, so hope to see you there. All right. Mark's testing it for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mark.
I'm glad you said 26th because I've been telling people the 23rd, which I then found out was a Wednesday. The 26th to all the people that I told the 23rd. So, anyways, my name is Mark. I am a developer, PHP, CSS, and getting into React with Gutenberg development.
And Mark really knows his Gutenberg stuff. If you have questions, he came up just to our local meetup here in Greenville and gave a talk on Gutenberg. So if you have Gutenberg questions, he's your man.
Absolutely.
You have a talk later too, right?
And yes, I am speaking at 3?
Right after this.
Right after this.
Hey y'all, I am Kori Ashton. I am blessed to have started an agency in San Antonio, Texas in 2012. We sold it in 2017. I started the agency with my mom and dad, who were in their 70s at the time. Anybody can do this stuff. We got them retirement after a 5-year sprint. We sold it for over 7 figures. You guys, this is totally possible to make money with WordPress. Way to go. And today I spoke on SEO, so I can try to answer your questions if you have questions on that.
Love it. All right. Thank you, Kori. Cool. So right now, I'd like to just kick it off to the audience right now. If we have any burning questions that need to be answered, it could be any area of WordPress, whether it's development, design, launching a site, getting people to it, making money from it. Bring me your questions. Yes?
If there was one plugin or thing you would do to improve SEO, what would that be?
Our SEO expert. Yes, yeah, I'm gonna repeat the question first.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, so the question was, if there was one plugin to improve SEO,
Yeah.
what would it be?
So I don't lean on a plugin. I think that there are skills that you just need to learn, but a plugin that can help you and be supportive in getting you to the right access point to make changes to your page titles and your meta description is Yoast, right? Most of us would know Yoast. It's like the word toast, but with a Y. It's a really good plugin. It's free, so that's always in the budget. But I would recommend maybe looking at somebody like Rebecca Gill. I don't know if y'all are familiar with her in the industry. She speaks on SEO a lot. She's taught me a lot on SEO. She's pretty amazing, and she has a lot of free resources online as well. And she teaches you not to follow the green dot. Don't chase the green dot in Yoast. If y'all use Yoast, y'all know that what I'm alluding to, right? So she teaches you just how to understand SEO. And then Yoast is just kind of pardon me?
What's her name?
Rebecca Gill.
Gill.
Yeah, Gill, G-I-L. Okay.
No, that's a great answer. Now, I have a follow-up to that. Now, Yoast, in my opinion, has slowed some of my sites down.
Yep.
So for our developers up here, why is that, and is there alternatives? Mark?
Why Yoast might slow it
Why
down?
Yoast might slow it down, yeah. Why Yoast, the plugin itself, might slow a WordPress site down. Because I've seen that firsthand. When I've switched to a different SEO plugin, I've seen the speed increase of the site.
I mean, Yoast is adding things to the page, your meta content. I can't imagine that adding meta content would slow the site down. So without seeing the actual site in question, it'd be hard to say exactly. It sounds like Kevin.
I would say check your host first.
Yes.
You know, if you're paying $5 for a host, that's a problem. You know, especially if you want to rank well. So that's the first place I would look.
The host basically isn't powerful enough to handle.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, and then if that's a problem, there may be other things going on, like what other plugins do you have installed with Yoast?
Gotcha.
That could be creating that kind of conflict. Though I would say if you want a site to be faster and still get the SEO side of things, you know, Yoast adds a lot of things that I would say most people don't even take advantage of.
That's true.
And so there's a lot of features there that if you just wanted, say, meta titles and meta descriptions for your pages, or a little bit more control over, like I said, the title tag, then maybe looking into an alternative would be good. But a good one to start with is Yoast. I agree, because it causes you to ask questions you didn't know you had because they put so much in there. So it's a very good place to start. Check your host first. That's what I would say from programming.
Excellent.
How about rank math as an alternative?
The question is rank
Anybody-
math.
Anybody heard of that?
I want to go learn about this. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a SEO plugin, and it's totally free, like everything. You know, it integrates well with Elementor. That's why I was turned on to it, because I use Elementor a lot.
Yeah.
So it's called rank math.
I've seen rank math. What's nice about Yoast, like you said, is the other things behind the scenes Yoast does. I ignore the green light. It's really a problem. It actually can cause you more harm than good to a degree. But rank math, I've seen, it does some of those things, but
Yeah.
it's the other things behind the scenes that Yoast is doing. Schema, for example, right? Yoast not only installs article schema on your blog, but it organizes your schema in a way that puts it all together, which is kind of the point of schema. In fact, they work together with Google to make sure the schema that it automatically gets inserted into your site when you install Yoast is right.
Yep.
So for that value alone, just do Yoast and walk away, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if rank math or the other ones,
I know they do schema.
they might, and
But I
are
don't
they
know.
doing it the right? I don't know.
I don't know.
You know, there's a lot of
It's just been a possible
all
plugin
things
lately.
SEO, like everyone got a little different thing, and then there's the hipsters who are like, well, you know, I've moved on because I'm cooler.
Yeah.
But like, I've heard accusations of Yoast being slow. I've not experienced it, but I think you're right. Checking the host is a good place for it. So try it out.
Can I have one?
Yeah, please do.
In terms of rank math, I have heard some kind of conflicting argument. I don't know what it is, but I had heard people pushing away from that on Reddit, r SEO, and then r WordPress specifically, pushing away from rank math and pushing the SEO framework, Yoast, and then also, wasn't all-in-one SEO just purchased by
Yes.
Awesome Motive, right?
Yep.
So that's one that I would definitely watch in terms of like what's coming up. But
The hot new stuff, all-in-one SEO, okay.
Yep.
And for those in the back, it was Rank Math
Yeah.
is the name of that plugin,
I'm
that
on
SEO.
this
they were just purchased.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, speaking of things getting purchased, man, in my talk I was chatting about Netlify, got $2 million in funding, crazy, weird. Anyway, Elementor, 15 million in funding recently. All right, next question. Yes.
Yeah, I am adding WordPress and LearnDash to an existing site that was built with Beaver Builder. Now I'm an Elementor Gutenberg guy, so for our Gutenberg expert, Beaver Builder doesn't seem to work at all well still with Gutenberg. And I was wondering if you have any insight on that.
So the question is basically, Beaver Builder is not working well with Gutenberg blocks, is that correct?
In my experience.
Yes, it is.
I have an
So,
answer for that.
So from my side, I almost look at Gutenberg and Beaver Builder as borderline competing ideas. Gutenberg is designed to be something that is you're using to build your site, as is Beaver Builder. If Beaver Builder is trying to build something into Gutenberg, which, full disclosure, I don't have any experience with Beaver Builder, but build something into Gutenberg and it's not working with other integrations, that might be where I would look, is those other integrations integrating with Gutenberg. But
I just did a giant LearnDash site with Beaver Builder. We built the site with Beaver Builder, then she had LearnDash and Memberium to do that. And I did learn the hard way that Beaver Builder won't save if LearnDash is activated. And Memberium, we had to deactivate both of those to get the design.
It won't save?
It wouldn't save. So it is, LearnDash is kind of a known plugin issue with Beaver Builder. So if you want to switch out, you can switch out Elementor, I would think, pretty much.
Well, I
And just,
don't have Elementor installed on the site.
you don't? Well, yeah, I would think you could just take your design and just move it to Gutenberg and take out, because like he said, they are kind of competitive plugins. I mean, they're doing the same thing. But if you want to stay with Beaver Builder and use that, if you turn off LearnDash, and I don't know about BuddyPress, but I know if you turn off LearnDash, it really helps Beaver Builder a lot.
Well, the whole point of my project is I'm adding LearnDash. And it's a ready-made site with Beaver Builder, so I can't really tell Beaver Builder.
and for people that don't know what Beaver Builder or LearnDash is, Beaver Builder is like a theme/page builder, correct? And LearnDash, I've never heard of LearnDash. What is that?
A learning management system.
Learning Management System, LMS.
Online
Perfect.
courses.
Okay, online, okay, perfect. All right. You have more to add, Mark?
the only thing that I had to add was really around, I mean, all of the plugins can't necessarily integrate with all of the other plugins. The number one thing that I would look for when you're trying to build something with, I need a page builder, I need an LMS, and what was the third one? And BuddyPress, and I need a social media integration, would be kind of Googling all of those things and looking for something that has integrations with all of those, or at least an alternative. I do know I had worked on a site that was trying to use all three of those, and essentially the solution was a theme that was designed to work with both Elementor and it was a different LMS. I don't think it was LearnDash, but finding something that is designed to integrate and solve all of those problems, you're going to want to make sure that it has an extension that it says this is compatible with this item before you try and pull it all together.
Yeah, and I think that's like the good and bad thing about WordPress. WordPress is great because you have all these plugins that do these amazing things, but then you can get crazy and start adding all these plugins and you have all these conflicts, right? Then it does too much and then everything breaks. Then you're like, well, that's great. So, quick little side note, Kevin's plugin, Type Rockets, does a lot of things all in one, so you don't need multiple things to match together. So, and that's, I think, why you created Type Rocket, right? Yeah. So, quick little plug for Type Rocket. Check them out. We had another question in this area. Yes.
Say, for example, you work for an organization and they said, hey, we'd like to pay for a week's worth of just basic get off the ground WordPress training for you. Do you guys have any suggestions as to what might be a good avenue to consider?
The question, repeat that for you if I can remember this, was you have a week's worth of WordPress training.
Yeah, say your company says, I want you to find something about a week, right, give or take, worth of training, just to kind of...
They want you to get up to speed on WordPress. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so your company wants to pay
Can you
for
refine the question a little bit more? From what standpoint?
Yeah.
Content management,
Right.
development, like what's the kind of
Start to
category?
finish.
Yeah, start. Just
So
start
are you looking-
getting off the ground.
So you need a WordPress 101, basically.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the question is basically if your company wants you to get up to speed on WordPress, they want to send you somewhere or send you to a website or something to catch up on WordPress start to finish to
For
learn
about a week's worth of
a week's worth of content. Where would you start?
Yeah, so our agency actually does that. We have a 6-week course that we give to anybody who comes in and sits down and needs to do that. We've trained other agencies on how to use WordPress, how to build out a custom theme before. Not to say that I'm the solution, but to say there are people out there offering those solutions.
Yeah.
And if you're an agency owner and a really cool developer that's able to teach that, I am saying create a course and put it out there because there are companies who will send their team members. I just had a gal come sign up for a 4-week course to build their company's website. Again, she paid $7,500 to meet with me twice a week for 4 weeks. Woo. That's nice money, right? For 2-hour sessions each time. I helped her get started on her WordPress website. She's out the door, off and running. But set up with the right expectations, set up with the right, best practices, and a lot of value.
Kori, is that what you typically charge for something like that? Is that like a...
Depends on who it is and if I like them.
Glad you didn't have a mic. Didn't make it on tape.
It depends on how that week looks.
That's right.
If it was, you're gonna have, 7 good days over the year, there are a lot of free WordPress meetups where they'll kind of walk you through the beginning part. And then I would say tag on to WordCamps to get your real questions asked specifically, and then be able to go to all of the workshops and network with people that you can call after that week is over as well.
There is a website called WP101.com.
yeah. Sean has.
Cliff did say there's a website called WP101. That'll help with that.
And another really good one, meanwhile, while you're looking and finding the right one, WPBeginner.com is a killer resource. He's been around at Syed and he's been around forever. And I mean, WP Beginner has some higher level stuff, but if you want to start at the very bottom, you just, I forget what the search term is, but maybe get started with WordPress, and you can it's just post after post after post, and you can just do a lot of reading that way too.
Funny, our keynote speaker, Thomas, is Syed's business partner.
Oh, wow,
So,
okay.
small world, there you go, Beginner. That is a great website.
Yeah.
Sorry, Clemson. Who keeps that right? I know Cliff's a Clemson fan, but we're good. All right.
He's a Carolina fan, but didn't want to.
Yeah. All right, questions? New topic, yes.
Aisha, and anyone else who has the knowledge and know how to, what do you think is the most crucial and beneficial on bringing traffic to your website to keep it consistent and getting people to engage with you, like a loyal base of people? What's the best thing or something like that in the world?
So the question, to repeat that for everybody, is what is the best way to build a consistent base of users to your website and keep a community, basically keep them coming back?
Well, I'm sure a lot of people on here are gonna say SEO, but I disagree with that. So I'll just say that up front. I think the best way to build consistency is to build a consistent community is to be consistent with your community, to put out valuable content that they can use. And so I know that in a lot of talks people are like, oh, make it valuable. So I try to say like, create things that people will print out, share, use over and over and over and over and over again, so that you become someone who helps them. I think a lot of times when people hear like, oh, I'm an influencer, they assume that people are watching me and doing what I'm doing when I'm actually watching people and serving them. So serve your community, and then people will watch you because they need you, but you're really an influencer as a server. So just like serve your community, be consistent. And then another thing is, I know that we all are introverts and we all believe in like the ability to be online. But for me, getting offline, coming to places like WordCamp and speaking, shaking hands and kissing babies is really the way to get people. Yeah, I died. It's a really great way to get people coming back. So I believe that you build a consistent community by actually building a real community. And so in a real community, there's real resources, real people, real care, real thoughts. And if you do that, people will come back over and over and over again.
Aisha, you're not an introvert.
I am totally an introvert. I am. I'm going to leave here and I'm going to be silent for like 3 days.
I don't think anybody believes you. Well, I think that was a fantastic answer, and I think you're right about like creating things kind of selflessly. I created a website for a talk that I did with no intention. It was just to help the talk, and I've gotten so much traffic to that website just because it was a helpful resource, and I really had no purpose other than being a helpful thing. So I like what you said about giving things away. That I think that definitely helps build community, and lets people trust you. Love it. Anybody else on that topic? I think that was pretty solid.
I'm going to give the SEO rebuttal. Your dog and what I do all day, every day. Been done for many years. She's right. Like SEO is not a panacea, right? I know we all want good traffic from Google, but if no one's looking for what you have, it's not going to help. So if the question is, how do you build consistent traffic? Aisha's answer is exactly right. If you offer a product or a service or something that people are looking for, SEO is a really great way to get at that, but that's not really what the question was. So yeah, SEO is really, I'm not saying, I love SEO, I do it all the time, but it's not a panacea. Now, sometimes I've turned down clients. No, SEO isn't your marketing solution. Let's not think that it's always the answer. For a lot of businesses it is, but in the question you're asking wasn't, so don't be seduced by ego metrics, rank, or baloney like that. Think about your customers, which will be a better service for them.
I think one of the classes that we need to see at WordCamp is like, when is it time to SEO? And like, when should you be, like that would be a talk I'd be interested in seeing, because I meet a lot of people, and if you are a blogger, I think SEO can help you a lot to get started, but it's gonna be when they land on that page, the content that they get, how it makes them feel, if they can resonate with it, and that's gonna need, they don't need Google after that. Like most of my people that come to my website aren't going to Google first. They're like waking up and they're looking for me. And I think that's the difference between what SEO can do for you and what you can do for yourself.
The consistency, when they come back, they're there.
Yeah. Right.
And +1 for consistency. So when they direct entry into your site, there's new content there because you're producing new content very regularly.
Actually, I'm going to agree with you, Aisha. And just
no way.
Your name from asking the question? What's that?
L.
L?
Eli.
Eli, I appreciate the question, especially obviously directed to Aisha. I would say that everything here is true, and to support what you're saying, I would say most people, when they're looking at doing something, they fall victim to fear or judgment of other people. And so consistency, that's like the outcome or what you call it when you get a sneeze, it's the symptom of something deeper. And so, you know, being secure in who you are and being willing to put that out there, whatever it is, whatever knowledge level that you're at, that's a key piece to that consistency. And so I remember when I was blogging, I like to do little experiments. So I blogged a day, every day, for a month, and I had like a whole calendar. I committed to it, even on days that I didn't want to, but I set it up to where I knew I could do it, like achieve it, and then I just did it even when I didn't feel like it. And within 30 days, I had more traffic to my site than the agency that had been paying bloggers and all this stuff, just because I had that calendar. I was consistent, and I said, hey, this sphere thing, I don't care. I don't care that I'm a junior person in this field. I'm going to do it anyways.
Can we talk about that too? Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of beginners here too. Like,
I got something.
yeah, like there are a lot of beginners here, and so I've been listening to Gary Vee, and I'm an entrepreneur first. Like that's really what my passion is and what I bring to the table. And so when you're looking at like building a blog or becoming a coder, it's just so cool because I think that was last year we met, and he was saying, I'm testing out Gutenberg, I'm building this site over here on the side of what I do, and now he's here as the expert. And so we aren't like we used to be. Like in the 80s, when a person would come on and they would speak, they would have to already be an expert. But because of the way that social media works, you can literally have someone follow you on your journey, follow you through failing, and you can be the #1 influencer in the world because you were not afraid to suck at something for a minute. And so I just want to remind you, people don't want to see, like if you're baking a cake, that you can bake a perfect cake. They actually want to know the story of how you became a great cake baker. So to all of the new people in the room, last year was this was the first WordCamp that I came to and spoke at outside of my city. Like just suck at it until you get great at it, but share that journey and people will honor you and appreciate you, and you will influence other people to not be afraid to fail.
I have to say, and don't have imposter syndrome because I saw your first talk and you were awesome out of the box.
There you go.
Out of the box.
But I remember being here sweating like.
But everybody
Yeah,
is.
we all sweat.
Everybody is.
So just join in.
Introvert with a stage presence.
It pays.
And one other thing that I wanted to add to that, you have to know your demographic as well. Does everybody in here know what a demographic, what I mean by that? Because I was in radio sales, and that's how I got into the position that I'm in right now. And so many business owners, and I'm just gonna call this business owners out in the world, whether they have a website or not. And this really starts ringing true when you start talking SEO, you start talking marketing and all that stuff. You have to know specifically, granularly, who you are trying to reach. And that to me is step one, because once you have, I've had so many business owners. I had one that built cable spooling trucks out in Oklahoma City for the oil field. He was an English professor. One of his keywords that he requested that we use was bespoke. And I'm going, yeah, Bubba out in the oil field with his greasy iPad's gonna look up bespoke to find you. So, to me, if you know your audience, that is another key factor in figuring out how to reach who you want to reach.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something about that too. And you don't have to know your audience. You have to tinker around to meet that audience and find it. And so I know that when I first came to WordCamp, there were a lot of people that were super professional. So this marketing person, the first thing she's gonna do is identify target audience. But for you, if you're new, you have to get to know your audience, build a relationship with them. Do they like email or do they like Instagram? Do they celebrate Christmas? Are they more like Hanukkah? Like you have to really tinker. And I think that's really just what I want to encourage you to do. And I would say it's step one when you get up and running, but in the process it's tinkering and losing and trying to figure out, why did I have 20,000 people this month and only 4 people this month? What did I do wrong? What can I do better?
Man, I hope everybody got something out of it, because that was fantastic. Yeah, great question there. Yes, a follow-up.
I have another one.
Okay.
What you just said. I want to know, when it comes to radio, since you've been working in radio for over 20 years.
Shelly?
Me?
Yes.
Radio.
Your name's
I
Shelly?
haven't been working radio. I've been in radio for 4 years. But I was in advertising sales before that, so.
Okay. What is the best way for someone, like a smaller blog, to garner attention and actually, what's the proper protocol to contact someone? You're a small brand, and you're like local, you take care of your community, we feed into our community, but we have this great content and products to share, but we want to seek to get it onto a larger scale, obviously. Obviously, it's like tagging on someone who has more. Where do we give the value? How do we share that value, and do we even get noticed, or is it like, is it all a numbers game? Like, I'm asking you specifically, how do we get an interview? How do we get our name out there even more when it comes to like our brand? When we believe in our product and we have like, we took all the right proper steps to make it. We have the content, so what do we do to reach out properly and to get actual response?
So, to reiterate that, the question is, how does a smaller company with great content get in front of larger companies or potential partners they want to partner with, even though they may be small time, but they want to, attach to these big companies and get noticed?
One of the things, well, the way I did it in this specific space is I started going to WordCamp, went to my first one in 2015, started meeting people like this guy, just talk to the vendors. And to me, what worked for me was to find a group of mentors and listen to every word. And then the mentors, as you listen and watch them grow, you will grow with them. People will start seeing you grow. Because I spoke for 2 years, and I still get questions from people that asked me questions 2 years ago. So that was how I did it.
So, as an influencer, the first thing I want you to do is identify where you want to be seen. Who do you want to be seen with, why you want to be seen with it, and why it matters. Once you identify where you want to be seen, and you understand what it is they do, and then you understand what you can do for them, that's what's really going to be key. I've been on the radio, I've been on television, I've been all around, I'm pretty much everywhere, and no one's ever asked me for my numbers. Because it's really about solving problems. Like if you're in business, everybody in here, if your business is about you and it's not about solving a problem, quit now because you're not going to make enough money. You have to be sure that you're solving a problem. So if your product is great, good for you. But how does that product translate to that larger brand? So this week, my little web series with 1,000 followers, I was able to host my city council forum and partner with the major newspaper and be the only brand to have city council members on film for social media because I understand where they have problems. I was able to come in and say, hey, here's what I can do for you. And you can put my logo right there. Right? And then they emailed me and was like, oh, what you did was so great, we're actually gonna pay you. So I started out partnering with them and then I turned it into pay. So my thing to you is like identifying, if as a minority, if you know that you can bring a minority crowd, that's what you sell. As a young person, if you can bring a millennial crowd, that's what you sell. But you sell a solution to a problem, and if you don't have a solution, then now is not the time.
I think she's your next year keynote or something.
There you go.
Future
Future keynote speaker. Kevin?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm curious, what is it that you're trying, what is your product, what is your brand?
Alright, so basically, we're like, a production company, entertainment, basically what we do is called Line Energy Lows Media Enterprises. And so basically right now we have a website where we have like our YouTubers trying to like figure out how we can monetize that. So I'm a showrunner of a web series currently. It's a murder mystery thriller slasher type of web series. It's going to be a 10-episode series basically, and then we have what is it?
We have a live show that review.
One live show
And
music
we're
video.
also working with
How often does that go out?
Well, Shed basically is coming out in May, first episode, but we did release a prelude like January 31st. So this past Tuesday, technically we made it like And so like right now we're at 938 views. This is our second video, so that's pretty good. So we're trying to figure out how can we like target the audience for it. We're working on our website. We actually have a website out, but we're trying to figure out how we can really just target more, like attract more people to the website. So between like the web series, the one-time show, the music video, we're just trying to figure out how can we like get that out more, and how can we like get more, traffic into the website, the YouTube, we have like a Facebook page, and we also have an Instagram.
Yeah, I would definitely say, resonating with everything everybody else is saying, proximity is a huge piece of this puzzle. When I did my blogging, the experiment, I didn't just put myself in proximity to locations, it was also people. So you have two pieces of proximity. You have to be in the right place, what you're talking about, the forum, right? But then the right people have to be there. And so you have to find those segments of people and places, and those can look different. Some are going to be in your zip code, and others are not. And if you're starting out, it probably needs to be in your zip code. And then once you have that zip code, then you need to target people in that zip code. And then when you expand past that, that's amazing. The other piece is, the reason I ask you how much you're putting out, you probably need to like quadruple the amount of stuff that you're doing. Even if it's just, hey guys, I had this idea, here's my Instagram, what do you think? Leave your comments. I'm trying to learn, I want your input. Or, because I think people look at Instagram in these different places and think, I'm not an influencer, aka an inspirational coach, but you have your perspective, right? You have your thoughts on what it is you're doing, your angle, your idea. Be passionate about sharing that. If you watch all these great shares, so Gary Vee's one of them, Dave Ramsey is a good radio example. These people share the same thing all day, every day, 7 days a week. There's like 10 to 20 different nuggets. Yeah, it's a different perspective on each one of them. So you just have to find your handful of things and just talk about it over and over and over again consistently.
What he's trying to say is, do you guys have a strategy? Okay, because I would say if you're not releasing your movie until May and you've already put out the preview, we will talk and I'll be out there. Because here's the deal, if I see it in January, by May, I forgot.
Well, there's extra Thursday this week.
So we'll talk and I'll show you guys, but raise your hand in here if you don't have a strategy. Okay, that's your homework. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, honey, what's the strategy for the day? Like, I want to know where I'm going to end up every time. So that's just your homework for the WordCamp. It's like, know where you're going to end up.
Love it. Fantastic. I think that was awesome. I think we all got a lot of value out of that. Yes?
No, I'm going to ask you. Social media strategy, which platform would you put the most focus on? Because, there's so many. And I know for me, I'm one that does not want to be on every platform because I ain't have time. So, which one should I focus on the most?
So, which social media platform should you focus on the most? Let's try to keep this answer. We can go super in depth on this.
I don't think we can go super in depth though, right? Because everybody's different. Everybody has different preferences. Everybody has different engagement. Everybody has different specialties. If you are not a photographer, then it's not Instagram for sure. And if you don't like Facebook, then it's not Facebook, right? So I suggest that everybody has at least one primary and one secondary in YouTube. I think everybody should have a YouTube because you should just be loading your video content over there. But the biggest piece of it is identifying where you have the most engagement, where people are most interested in what you're doing, and then what skill set do you have to match it up. So that's going to be an individual question for each individual person based off their industry and their interest and their age and the age of their audience and all those types of things. And their consistency, right? Yeah. So, you can put something on LinkedIn, it lasts for 2 weeks. So if you're not consistent, that's a good one.
Always goes back to consistency.
I would say the correct platform, their advice is great. You should just use WordPress.
Awesome. All right. Next question. Yes.
Well, you guys have had a lot of opportunity to nod your heads with each other and smile a lot. So my question is, are there any places where, are there any friction points between the things that you all do, because you do a lot of different things, that would make life easier if you know, if we made changes in how we work.
And are you referring to specifically the group up here?
Yeah, so
SEOs are always
like
break.
points where the different pieces of work
Say
that
it,
y'all
say
do.
it.
Developers always break my SEO.
Yeah, so the question,
SEOs always,
hold on, the question, so everybody knows, is are there any specific friction or pain points between what everyone up here does? And how can we solve those?
SEOs always break design and code.
Developers always break my SEO.
I get sick of people coming to me and thinking that I can help their page be number one, and that's gonna make them great.
So there's no friction.
I don't like it when people come to my booth and ask me how to make their website faster.
I did that today. So we are like, and David snores. I'm just kidding.
PG. All right. I would say that some of us might have a little bit of a controversial view, perhaps. I don't know everybody up here that well, but I'm going to lean this way for a second. I would think that sometimes there's been controversy in my own team. How about this? Let me bring it home, right, with my own team. I just rolled out a website that I had built for my child's school. I traded for his tuition for 2 years, and I built out his, and I'm not a developer. I built out his website on Divi, right? And I was showing it off to my really amazing development team.
Oh, they're like a builder.
Oh, there you go. And they were like, why do we even have jobs anymore? This page builder does everything. You know? And so I think there might be a little bit of a controversy there. And then when we're talking about the old Gutenberg jumping in there to that mix, there might be a little bit of a controversy there, right? Maybe? Ish?
Yeah. Good. I mean, if Divi works for you, use Divi. I mean,
But there's still friction there, right?
This is not supposed to
But
be.
raise your hand if you're mad because people use Divi. Like they're
Right.
designers. They
I mean, a little bit, but like, you make your own decisions.
I mean, if I could clarify, I don't necessarily mean like practices that are controversial necessarily, just things that would make life easier for you if they were done.
And the follow-up was, what are the things that would make life easier for that?
Communication. Just, I mean, if dev is talking to design and design is talking to SEO and SEO is talking to design and content and everything, we can all work together.
Great text.
Love it.
Yeah. I think mine is communication, but it's different. I think when people come in, it's still communication. No, I agree, but I think she asked me what would make my life more easier, and I think we get in this industry, what I've seen is that there's these buzzwords, these buzz things that we say. So people come, they're like, I'm gonna go to WordCamp, I'm gonna learn to SEO my site, like now my issue's gonna be gone. Or my favorite is in marketing, everybody's telling everybody, tell your story, tell your story. And I'm like, please don't tell your story, because what you're gonna do is you're going to traumatize everybody around you and they're gonna be scared to buy your product. And so for me, like these little nuances, because I was talking to Micah today and he gave me a lot and I didn't remember any of it, right? And so like, we say these little snippets to this beginner and they walk out and they're like, I need to SEO my site, I need to SEO my site, because they heard that SEO is like the thing. And they missed the part when he was like, clear your cache, do this thing, do that thing. And so for me, it would be just like communication, but really listening and like not thinking that people are like the gods to your problems and they can solve them.
We are getting close to echoes here. Do you have a response to that, or we good?
Echo.
We're good.
He got another one.
This is confession time. Ego. Right? Ego.
Oh
I've done SEO for 12 years, like 5 years on my own. Like, I feel like I get it. I can't listen to any other SEO talk. I'm so sorry. I can't do it. Right? I can't do it. You get it. You get it. Like, it's so hard, right? Because everyone's got a little different aspect, right? And so I'm challenging myself this year as I go to WordCamp just to listen to other SEO talks, to get over myself, to acknowledge that I don't know everything, and to admit that when someone sits and listens to my SEO talk, they're gonna pick out me misstepping or exaggerating or going for effect, and they might give me a C on my talk too, right? So ego, although WordPress community is very encouraging of each other.
Too encouraging, I must say.
Maybe sometimes. Maybe sometimes. But we also, we all want to give each other, but there is a little competition here, right? And we can talk about the philosophy of competition, whether that's a good idea or not. I do believe it is a little good idea, but the point is that I'm really having to challenge myself with my own ego to say, you know what, David, get over yourself. And I'm going to go to every SEO talk I can this year so that I can check my own arrogance and to make sure that I'm not just becoming stagnant in my old ways. And maybe that's something we can all take. You might not be an SEO, you might be a developer. You might be the best developer in this room, like Mark. Did I say that? Yeah, he's great. So, but maybe that's what we need to do, is challenge ourselves to say, I hate that talk, because I could give that talk better. And to go to that talk and figure out that, I do have something to learn here.
Love it. Okay.
Here we go. Now that
Shelly.
I've gotten to hear all this, my biggest pain point, and it's not as bad as it was because I did figure out how to do this, but there is such a huge divide between design and development. And I think, it's kind of that kumbaya, can't we all just get along? But I really believe that, because I lean more design, and I really believe that I need to learn, and I actually did learn PHP, and I did learn JavaScript, and I did learn enough to where when I'm talking to my developers, they're so thankful, because I can say, hey, this is exactly what I need, and I'm speaking a different language. And so I think if designers and developers both could learn a little of the other language, then it becomes a lot more universal. It saves a lot of time. I've had developers that have literally built the wrong thing because they refuse to ask questions, and I didn't explain it right.
Communication.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Okay, well, we got to give everybody a little bathroom break before the next thing, so I want to leave on one last final question, 10 seconds each person. WordPress currently powers like 35% of the web, 40%? A huge amount, right? That's mind-boggling. You can't even think how many websites that is running on WordPress. So, WordPress has to be a little careful where it's going in the future. So, who's got the mic? Aisha.
I did answer.
Okay, you don't have to. So where is WordPress going? This is like the impossible question. This is the finishing hardball. 10 seconds.
Well, I think that people really right now are using for me, what I appreciate where WordPress is going is to continue developing more people in our industry in terms of like building plugins and developing themes, and that is just going to get more open because it has a cult following. And so I think it's going to be one of those things that's going to just be around and for people who get it.
Love
it. Sorry. I was just going to say, I think where WordPress is going is where they've already drawn the pin on the map. And we know that to be ownership of your own content. And that's something that Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all that kind of stuff doesn't really offer. Yeah, sure, maybe I can pull that data down. Right? That is the ethos of WordPress. So whatever supports that, the democratization of content and journaling and all that information, like that is where WordPress is going. So I think it's less about tools and more about philosophy. And when we get caught up in our tools, that's where we get lost. And like we get upset because of Gutenberg. But what is Gutenberg doing? It's opening up the door for people to own their own content in a relevant way. And I think that's what's important to recognize here. So we can't battle about the tech stack.
Yes. Wonderful answer.
Can I piggyback right off what he said, or go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to completely disagree with you. I think that is the way WordPress is going, but I fear that's the way WordPress is going. I don't think WordPress as a platform should race to the bottom. I think WordPress community, there's a lot of us making livings off developing it, and we should develop WordPress into a premium, your second website. Let Squarespace and Wix fight for the bottom, fight for the intro people. Let's make WordPress a platform that is, okay, when your business is ready to make money, that's when you invest in. And what that does is I think that honors all of us who are doing development and design, and it makes us a premium platform, CMS, rather than competing with the bottom. So I like the idea of democratization, but let's develop WordPress to a second tier. When you're ready to invest and make your business work, that WordPress should be your platform at that.
How do you do that?
No, don't answer that. We have to go. Sorry, I'm running us over time here, so.
I agree with Kevin, I disagree with David. I don't know that it's a race to the bottom. I think that if Gutenberg was based on Squarespace, it's looking at what it did right. I think that WordPress creates or is working to democratize publishing, and I think that Gutenberg opens the doors because there's an API to build whatever you want. I mean, the same way that WordPress built in hooks to use PHP to do whatever you want, they created a whole new editor that is, I mean, in my opinion, leaps and bounds ahead of TinyMCE, and then gave users the ability to add on to that, so.
Thank you. Shelly?
And that's what, he just perfectly dovetailed into what I was going to say. I've been, like I said, 10 years. I started with WordPress, I want to say 2.3. And I have watched it grow and grow and grow. And what I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years is a streamlined process where a lot of the old clunky stuff that started out in the beginning is starting to drop out. And so I see it, to me, it's just streamlining more, which is elevating it all just by default.
Finally.
I'll end it on this.
Yes.
I believe that WordPress is going to go wherever you, the community, chooses to take it.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
thank you for being here.
Thank you all for